Hi, good afternoon everyone. I'm Lakeisha
And I'm Amy.
and we're film and television students. So today we're just going to share with you a little bit about our experience at Brunel and what we've enjoyed about it.
Okay, so hi, my name's Amy Peacock. I'm a student ambassador for Film and Television Studies, and I'm a third year film and TV and English student. I've been here for almost 3 years now, so it's my third year. I'm on just a 3-year course, but now there is, I think, placement kind of years coming in, so you can take that if you would like. Some of the modules that I've studied so far have been screenwriting, TV forms and meanings, horror and documentary. I've really enjoyed all of the modules that I've studied in film, but I think especially screenwriting because it's just something different. It gives you a chance to develop your creativity and explore kind of certain genres that you want to write about. And I also really enjoyed horror as well because it's just something a bit different. You get to watch a horror film every week, and there's all different topics, and it kind of explores horror in a way you haven't really thought about before. And then the only other thing I would say is that I've done 2 summer internships. So I worked for a maintenance company doing communication in a call centre, and that just kind of has helped me a lot. And that was given to me by the Placement and Career Centre in Brunel. So they have lots of kind of internships and opportunities that you can take up there as well.
Yep, so I'm Lakeisha and I'm in my third and final year studying film, and I'm also a student ambassador at Brunel University. A couple of the modules that I picked was critical perspectives, that was in first year, but in my final year I loved screenwriting. I want to get into screenwriting, and that module really helped me and it prepared me for the real world. So in that course we wrote some scripts and we literally got picked apart, but it really helped us refine our skills, and that's one thing that I kind of want to push in this webinar, that Brunel really does refine your skills and it kind of pushes you and challenges you to like do better and to kind of go into different scopes of film and television because it's so broad. Yeah, it's been a really good experience so far. Um, I did a work placement at West London Film and Media, and in that I was able to prepare a script to come up with a pilot episode of my own idea, and I also got to meet people from Disney and do networking through that. So to be honest, it's been a really good experience. I've networked, I've refined my skills, and I've just found out what I want to do after uni.
So why I chose Brunel? Well, at first I kind of had a look at the location. I think it's really good. It's really near the BFI library, so that's really good for resources if you're doing your essays. It's really close to Pinewood Studios as well, so that's really good for experiences. I think you go on a trip there in your first year as well to kind of have a look around and submit kind of a mini assignment to go with that as well. And then just that it's really close to London. It's I think it's about 45 minutes on the train or something like that, so it's pretty close. That if there's anything ever going on, it's always going to be in London. And then I also kind of chose it because it's a campus-based university, and I really like the kind of shopping strip feel that I got from it. If you walk up the campus from the start to the end, it's just in one great big line, and everything is kind of situated in one line, so it's really easy to navigate around. And then as the course itself, I chose it just because it's unique and it's really interesting. All the module choices that I saw before me are all the ones I was interested in, so that's kind of furthered my kind of ambitions to go to Brunel. And I also chose Brunel because there was a Brunel buddy system. So you get set up with another student that's been there for kind of a year or 2 years, and then they can sort of show you around the university, kind of just integrate you into student life a little bit better. And then actually I became a Brunel buddy myself in second year and helped a first year student settle in as well. So I think that scheme is really valuable, and that's kind of one of the reasons that I chose Brunel.
Yeah, so one of the reasons, to be honest, why I chose Brunel is because my sister came here 10 years ago and she loved it. That was one of the main selling points for me to going to Brunel. And Brunel just has a really good reputation. And when I got here when I went to the open day and I actually came on campus, you just get a really homely vibe from this campus. Everything's so close. You've got the pharmacy, you've got Subway, you've got Costa, you've got everything just all on one strip, and I liked that vibe. It really made me feel at home. Um, it's a campus-based university, so my campus every year, where I've lived, sorry, my accommodation has been about just a 2 or 3 minute walk from my lectures, so it's just been great. The location is great, like Amy said, not far from London. I'm from South London, so I just get the Metropolitan line back and then Jubilee line and then back to South London very quickly. Another selling point was the wide range of societies. So I like sports. I used to actually do discus and shot put and track and all those type of things. And Brunel is amazing for sports. The fact that we have the Jamaican Olympic team coming to train here, it should show how like good the facilities are, to be honest. Concerning the course, I put perfect balance of theory and practical. As someone who was a bit scared of the practical side of film because I'm more like nerdy and like to write and stuff, Brunel really just, it opened my eyes to the practical side of things and actually that I can do it and I can learn. So yeah, it just really challenged me to do better.
So what's it like to study film and TV at Brunel? Well, for a start, when you first settle in, there is personal tutor appointments. So when you're first setting up here, you kind of get a personal tutor assigned to you, and then you have kind of meetings with them regularly to help you settle in if you've got any queries or questions. And I think they mark your first essays as well, so they know kind of how you write, what your approach is, and then they can kind of improve you from there. So it's always good to have like an academic straight away there as your kind of supervisor. And then there's a really diverse choice of modules, so there are so many things to choose from. If you didn't like one module, then you could just choose a completely different one. If you didn't want to do a practical one, you could just do a theory one. It's really entirely up to you, and I think that's one of the major selling points of here. And then the other thing about Brunel is that you get excellent feedback from the staff. And all your essays, there is a huge amount of feedback that you get, good and bad, that you can improve on. So that's like a major thing for you to improve and develop your skills. It never leaves you with wondering questions of why you got a certain grade. And then there's Cult Film and Television Society. So there's numerous kind of societies here at Brunel, but the Cult Film and Television ones really kind of integrate your course with the societies, and everyone kind of that studies film and TV here are part of those societies, so it's a really good way to make friends as well. And then you have a subject librarian and student reps, and they kind of just help you in your course if there's anything going wrong. If you need a bit more research or something like that, they're always on hand as well to help you in that way.
Yeah, so just kind of to reiterate, my experience at Brunel has been great. I've refined my skills. I came in being okay, and I'm leaving feeling a lot better at the screenwriting, which is something that I want to go into. My work placement at West London Film and Media was amazing because I not only was able to actually work on my own project, but I was able to go and network, and that's a massive thing in the film business. And I think that the lecturers really prepare you for the actual business of film. Networking is a massive thing, or research is a massive thing, and I was able to actually learn about the trade and actually get some contacts, which helps me with the job that I will be applying for after university. The last point I put is the ability to find your own voice. It can be very easy to get lost in the crowd. It can be very easy to just do a degree and just leave it as that, but at Brunel, I've really found my artistic voice, so to speak. Like I know what I want to say if I do a film. I know what I want to say if I write a script, and it just provides you with the opportunity to be free, and to really challenge you and see what you can offer, what you can bring to the job. Yeah.
So the student support on campus, there's the Ask, which is the academic skills service. So if you ever have problems with your writing style, or kind of don't know how to kind of approach an essay or an assignment that you might not have experienced before, they're always on hand. They're really brilliant, and they've got quite a lot of good reviews of how they've helped people. And then the library, it's actually 24 hours. So if you are ever struggling and you need to do an all-nighter, which many of us have done before, that's always on hand, which is really good. And then there's also the Disability and Dyslexia Service. So they've been brilliant at providing help for a lot of people that have extra problems that other students may not have.
Yep, so you've also got the Brunel Student Union, so you can actually apply and run for positions in the uni and make an impact at Brunel. You've got the Counselling Service, which is just sometimes around exam time it can get a bit stressful. There's someone there to talk to. You've got the money doctors that really help you prioritise and kind of give you financial wisdom and how to go about your spending at Brunel. And then the Brunel Buddies, which is what Amy spoke about before, which is just kind of easing your way into Brunel, showing you around, showing you what's on campus. So it's really great, to be honest. One thing that actually isn't on the list is the 24-hour Costa when it's exam time, and that's exactly what you're going to need when you have essays and deadlines due.
So probably what everyone wants to know about is the campus life. What is it like? Is it fun? What kind of things do we get up to? It is basically what it's meant to be. It's basically lives up to the name. There's loads and loads of clubs and societies. So at the bottom picture you can see I currently run the Brunel Baking Society, so I'm the president of that society, been there for a year, and that's really fun. You know, we do sort of classes and teach people how to bake and things like that. And then there's also loads of other societies and sports clubs and things you can get involved in, as Licky just said. There's just any kind of club that you think you could possibly think of, we probably have at Brunel. And if not, you can start your own society or club as well, so you always have that opportunity. And then the accommodation. So I stayed in a first year shared flat, which you can see in the first picture, and then I stayed in an ensuite for my last year, and then in my second year I had my own flat. So there's a lot of flexibility. You kind of get to do everything, kind of change what accommodation you're living in, and every single year has been fun, no matter if you're sharing, no matter if you're in an ensuite. I think I preferred sharing actually, just because it's a bit cheaper and it's kind of more a community vibe, but it just depends what you want to do. And then the nightlife, everyone kind of asks about the nightlife. Is it actually what it's meant to be? The nightlife is pretty fun. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but it's amazing. I mean, this is Freshers Week. There's a picture there of the queue to actually get into the club. I mean, it's incredible that the amount of people that actually go to these nightlife nights. So yeah, it is as fun as it's meant to be. And then campus facilities, obviously we've got Subway on campus, we've got a social kitchen, we've got Yardbird, which is basically a cheap Nando's, and then obviously, as Lakeisha said, Costa and things like that. So there's all these other facilities you've got there. And then there's supermarkets just down the road. There's Tesco's, there's Lidl, and there's a Sainsbury's in Uxbridge as well. And then there's 24-hour security, so if you ever have any problems, they're always on hand, which is really, really helpful.
Yeah, I don't want to repeat what Amy said, but what I will say is that campus life has always been really good to me at Brunel. I thoroughly enjoyed staying on campus. I stayed on campus my first year and in my final year now, and it's just been great. Everything's just been like a stone throw away. I've never had to worry about security, like Amy said. There's 24-hour security on deck. The nightlife is amazing, and there's so much to do. I think one of the main selling points of Brunel, especially as a fresher, is the societies. There's just so many. Like, if you go to Freshers Fair, you'll walk in and you're going to be completely bombarded by how many societies there are. And like Amy said, if there isn't one for you, you can literally start your own society. There's always ways to make friends. There's always ways to get yourself out there and to actually speak to people. Yeah, I don't want to repeat, but there's near shops and supermarkets. So you have Lidl, you have Tesco's, you have Sainsbury's, you have Asda, which is all about 15 minutes away on the bus, or sometimes 10 minutes walking. Then you have a shopping centre up in town. You've got all your normal shops like New Look, River Island, everything's there. So Brunel's just in a really good place. It's just very accessible. Okay, what has Brunel taught me? I think Brunel and university will teach you independence. It will teach you how to grow up. But what I like about Brunel is that it doesn't just throw you in the deep end. It kind of just naturally and carefully pushes you out there and allows you to step out. It provides you so many opportunities to just really step out and, like I said, find your voice. Brunel has taught me discipline, especially just handing in like your essays on time. It's taught me how to actually meet people and deal with people, because especially in film and television, you will be working with each other quite a lot in a group. So it's really important to know how to deal with certain situations that kind of get out of hand sometimes. I think I'm leaving Brunel a more rounded person, to say the least. Yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Now we're going to hand over to our lecturer Leon Hunt, who's the admissions tutor for Brunel from TV.
Right, hello, yes. As Amy just said, I'm Leon Hunt. I'm a lecturer in film and TV studies at Brunel. I'm also the admissions tutor. On this screen you'll see my email address. So if you had a pen and paper to hand, it might be worth writing that down. If you think of any questions after today you'd like to ask about the course, I'll be happy to answer questions by email at any time. So my email address is leon.hunt@brunel.ac.uk. Okay, so from the other side of the blackboard, as it were, why do I think you should come to Brunel? Firstly, I think what we have here is an exciting program, an innovative program. We have a very exciting range of modules. There are some very distinctive and I think unique modules on the program. It's a contemporary program as well. It's something that we're constantly updating. Amy and Lakeisha have mentioned the integration of practice and theory. And what I would add to that is it's not just that we have theory modules and practical modules, it's also about thinking about how those two things go together. So even on what we would call our practical modules, there is a theoretical dimension to them as well. So what we're always encouraging students to think about is how does the theory help you improve as a filmmaker? How does your practice as a filmmaker teach you more about film and television? How does it enhance your understanding of film and television? Thirdly, I would say every single one of us, without exception, on the teaching team are genuinely passionate about what we teach. I think that's partly in the nature of the subject. It's not, film and TV is not a subject that you drift into by accident. You probably start off as a film buff or a film fan or a TV addict, and that develops into a more academic interest in it. We're all publishing books and articles and essays, and some of us also making films, including prize-winning films. You'll see a couple of examples of that in the presentation. Something else both Amy and Lakeisha mentioned is the employability and the actually being prepared for the industry and for work. And this is something that develops across the three levels, an emphasis on industry and employability as well as the more analytical, historical and the practical stuff that we cover. So there is a work placement, a work experience module at level 3. We have industry visits. We cover all sorts of employment skills and issues around how one might approach the media industry. Okay, I mentioned our passion for the subject, our research into the subject. These are some of the books that we've published. Now, I have to point out there is a suspicious number of my books on this slide. That is in no way a reflection of my being more prolific than my colleagues. That's simply because I'm the admissions tutor and I put this presentation together, so there are more of my books on screen. So don't be misled by that. But you'll see what my interests are. I did a book some years ago on Kung Fu movies, and I have a broader interest in popular Asian cinema. I also share with my colleague Millie Williamson an interest in the horror genre. We both teach on the horror module, so we co-edited a book on vampires, and Millie has published a very, very well-regarded book on vampires. Jeff King is a leading authority on New Hollywood and independent Hollywood, has written many books on the subject. And in addition, we have expertise on psychoanalysis. Caroline Ruddle's book, The Besieged Ego, Mike Wayne's work on Marxist film theory, Julian Peckley, a very widely recognized authority on media regulation and censorship. His book there on film and video censorship. And Millie Williamson, who's also an authority on the study of celebrity, and her celebrity studies module is a very, very popular one at level 2. But our research is not just, we don't just write books. Some of us also make things, produce things. So we have 2 filmmakers on the team as well. So this is the poster for Daniele Rugo's film, The Olympic Side of London, which is about how the Olympics, what was the impact of the Olympics arriving in London. The poster here making it look a little bit like an alien invasion. And Piotr Cieplak made a documentary about the genocide in Rwanda called Memory Cards, and that was an award-winning film. This is some of the equipment that you would encounter working on the production modules. These are some of the cameras that are available to use on the production modules. And the editing facilities. If you've been to an applicant day or an open day, you may well have seen some of our editing equipment and camera equipment. Now I mentioned employability, and we have this module at level 3, which we kind of build up to, really, analysis of work experiences and option module, which is about fostering employability. We have industry professionals coming in to talk to the students taking that module. We have a program of industry speakers, and that module includes a 70-hour work placement. Sometimes people are able to find their own placements where they can go, but we do have a network of contacts in the film and television industry, so you won't just be left stranded if you can't find somewhere to go and do your placements. We have contacts in the film and TV industry, we have contacts in marketing, in PR, and also in the charity sector. So there is an opportunity to apply some of the skills that you've gained on the program in a number of contexts. Now I mentioned that we build up to that, and that starts right at level 1. One of the modules that you would take at level 1 also covers things like writing CVs, writing application letters. There is an industry visit where you get more of a sense of how does the media industry actually work, how does a particular media company function, what sort of openings are there, how might you start to think about finding your way into it. So it's about really enhancing your understanding of the media employment landscape rather than just coming to the end of your degree and hoping somebody somewhere might be looking for a film director. Now these are some of our industry partners. So when it comes to work experience, these are some of the places that people have sometimes gone to. Pinewood Studios, Fremantle Media, Objective Productions, Nickelodeon, WaterAid and Ballyboys. Now again, I guess an important question to think about is, what might you be doing at the end? And there are many, many different graduate destinations that you could end up in. This isn't a program that teaches you, trains you to do one thing. So these are just some of the things that some of our students have gone on to do, including work at the BBC, script supervision, casting work, production assistant, press assistant, freelance producer, visual effects at Frame Store, who do post-production work, celebrity booker at Endemol, on-air planner at the Swedish broadcaster Viasat, business manager at Sanctuary Group, a music video production company, leisure and tourism, office and event management, a digital compositor at Lucasfilm in Singapore, contracts coordinator at MGM, a senior digital producer at ActionAid. Now, a couple of other things to mention, one of which came on for the first time this year, and the other is coming on for the first time next year. So actually, I'm going to take these out of order because the second one did come in for the first time last summer. So we are part of the College of Business, Arts and Social Sciences, which now runs summer schools in China. So what that means is you go for 2 weeks to Dalian University of Foreign Languages. You can take lessons in Mandarin. There will be cultural immersion activities, meetings with local businesses. And in addition, every year Brunel offers 12 scholarships to cover tuition and accommodation. So that ran for the first time last summer, and that was very popular. And what I suspect will be even more popular, well actually we're already seeing how popular it's going to be with people signing up for it, are exchanges from next academic year with the University of California, UCLA. So there will be the opportunity for students to spend a semester studying on the LA campus of UCLA. These are some of the things that former students and students currently on the course have said about their experience of studying at Brunel, because you've already heard Lakeisha and Amy's experiences on the program, so here are a few others. The enthusiasm and constant support from the staff and team makes the course interesting, keeps students on track with their work and grades, so I know I've never felt stressed or left out or left behind. Someone else mentions the diversity of the module. There's something for everyone. We certainly like to think that's true. There's something for every interest within film and TV. And also the balance between analytical and practical work. The internship scheme, I think they're referring to the work experience module there. Also the opportunity to go abroad. Someone else talking about their work placement. A Chiswick Buzz. Chances to liaise and work with people from different departments. If you're working on your productions, when you're making your film productions, it helps enormously that there's also a theatre studies course here. It's never a problem to find people willing to act in your films. So a few comments there from former students. And the final thing to mention, which we have every year, is BUFF, Brunel University Film Festival, which is an annual showcase of the best student films that were made during the academic year, and that would include films made on, because we have a practical dissertation module in the final year. That's an optional module where you completely take charge of your own production. So we show all of the dissertation films, and we show those films that have won prizes. So there is an awards ceremony for best fiction, best non-fiction, best overall film for that year. And at the last film festival, the awards were presented by Simon Dean, who's senior creative manager at Disney. So it's also an opportunity to network and show your work off a little bit. And that's always a very good night, because there is beer and pizza at Brunel University Film Festival as well. So a good time is guaranteed at that every year. And there we go. So we go into the...
So if anyone would like to ask us any questions, then fire away. We're all here to see if you've got any queries. I've just seen a few coming in now. One of them says, what is it like doing film and TV with another subject? Well, I do film and TV with English, and for me, doing a joint honours degree, normally the kind of thing that everyone thinks is that I do more work just because I do 2 subjects, which is totally untrue. I do exactly the same amount of work. In film and TV you do 6 modules a year, and I also do 6 modules a year, but I just do 3 in film and 3 in English, and they do complement each other quite well. You kind of get some other subjects that do film and theatre, and they kind of complement each other maybe further than that, but yeah, it's just sort of given me the kind of best of both worlds. I get to do whatever modules I like, get to kind of just pick the best ones. I don't have to have kind of any ones that I don't like, and I think it's just been better to have kind of 2 subjects for me personally. So if anyone out there is thinking about doing that, then you should definitely research both subjects and just make a decision on that.
We have another question, which is, what is the hardest part of university life and your course? Like I said before, I'm involved in a couple of societies, and I lead a couple of societies as well. So I'd say the hardest part is literally just balancing it and just trying to find time to do everything. But university life will teach you how to balance things. It will teach you discipline. It will teach you what to prioritize and things like that. So I don't think anything's been too tricky, to be fair. It's just all about discipline and knowing what works for you and knowing how to prioritize things. In my course in particular, I would say the hardest part for me was the filming, because I went into film and television really liking the theory side. So the hardest part was actually working with the cameras, setting up, editing. Didn't really know how to do that. But now I'm in my final year, I can honestly say that I know what to do now, and it's not as daunting as it was before.
Oh, and we've got another question coming in. It says, what are your plans when you graduate? This is quite tricky because normally in a subject such as engineering or something, there is quite a clear kind of goal or aim for you to get into a certain job. With film and TV, it's so varied that there are so many options that we can go into. So at the moment, I'm just sort of weighing a lot of things up. I'm getting a lot of recruitment companies and things kind of calling me and, you know, giving me quite a few opportunities. And I think it's just about balancing what you would like to do and what you've learned. But at the moment, I think I've got a telephone interview actually tomorrow for a magazine company that kind of runs a few magazines and does kind of marketing and advertisement and things like that, and that's what that role will be. So I'm not 100% sure yet, but hopefully if the telephone interview goes well tomorrow, I'll hopefully be working on advertising and marketing for magazines and potentially running their film industry articles.
In addition to that question, I would say that it's important that through the 3 years that you think about life after uni, you don't leave it to the last minute. So during first year and second year, it's good to do summer internships. It's really good to actually get yourself out there, because when it comes time for your plans after university, you've got more options. So what do I want? What would I plan to do? At the moment, I'm applying for jobs, and I have interviews coming up as well, like Amy. I'm applying for jobs in the film spectrum, applying for jobs in television, and I'm hopefully would like to get a job straight after uni, and also focus on my screenwriting project on the side. So the world is really my oyster, to be fair.
So yeah, has anyone got any more questions to ask us or the tutor? Okay, we'll end the webinar now. Thank you for listening, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye.